Live from University Park, this is Nittany Talk. I'm your host, Emma Goldkoff, and today we'll be breaking down the fight for Speaker of the House, look at some past celebrity Halloween costumes, take a dive deep into some spooky crime, and discuss all things Halloween candy. Now, let's get to talking. Welcome back to Nittany Talk. Now we're going to send it over to the politics panel to discuss what is happening in the House of Representatives. Over to you, Olivia.
Thanks, Emma. I'm Olivia Jean, joined here today by Jay Sobardo, Francie Eber, Ryan Lawi, and Yayo One. It's been almost a month since Kevin McCarthy was voted out of his position, the Speaker of the House. This has left our government paralyzed, with many pointing blame at each other. Let's break this fiasco down. Starting with McCarthy, how did this historical vote come about? I mean, it started on October 3rd. We had all Democrats vote against him and 8 Republicans. This is very unprecedented. This has never happened before. He would have needed 217 votes, but got 216. So he was one off, which means he was booted out.
If we're going to call it a fiasco, we need to go back to when he was first voted to be Speaker of the House, because it took, how many rounds, like 13 or 14? 15?
It almost got physical.
Too many. That's the point of it. And so now we're at a point where we don't even have a Speaker, and Kevin McCarthy could put himself back in. I don't think that would really work out in his favor, but
I don't see him doing that.
Oh, I don't either.
I think he's done. He's done with the House of Representatives.
Yeah, there's 2 Republicans who clearly are not interested in the spot anymore. That's McCarthy and, of course, our current interim himself. He's not interested either, which I find very interesting because people were applauding him when he got a few votes.
It's actually quite surprising because you would think that anybody in his position would actually jump at the opportunity to be Speaker of the House, especially given that his path is quite literally unobstructed, because there is no real viable candidate for Speaker of the House. So I'm just shocked that he's not jumping at the opportunity.
He received some votes. I believe he received 5, and he chuckled at it, which is very interesting. I'm a big fan of his bow tie. Off topic, I'm a big fan of his bow tie. But I don't think he has enough energy to be there, McHenry. And I think that those who do want to be there rather don't get enough from the Trump side of things or don't get enough from the center. And clearly the Democrats are all in on Jeffries. Jeffries received so much as 210 votes.
You only need 217.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to go with the McCarthy route. I think we should really focus on the fact on how far right he was. I think that had a huge impact on obviously why he got voted out. But now where we stand, what does this mean for possible like things to be passed, especially with what's going on?
Possible legislation?
Right, yeah.
And
that's pretty serious.
I honestly didn't think that he was that far right, though. I mean, the extreme far right are the ones that voted him out. So I thought he was quite moderate in a sense. Like, I thought he was working well with both parties, but
his stance on Trump was quite shaky, which I think shook it up a little bit
very
as well.
shaky.
Not to use the same word twice.
And really the only far-right ones I think that are even going to be like suggested, which won't make it very far, is anyone suggested by the Freedom Caucus right now. But at the same time, Republicans need to get it together. I've said this before, but if they want to win in 2024 and they can't even settle on a speaker, they have to change something. Someone has to grow up and say, okay, I might not agree with everything you have to say, but I'm doing it for the party. I'm doing it for the country.
Yeah.
And let's talk about it, because we had 3 people nominated and all of them have either dropped out or just not gotten the vote. We had Scalise, there was now Jim Jordan, and then Tom Emmer, who literally announced his bid for House Speaker, just dropped out like 2 hours ago. He hasn't even been a nominee for a full day. I mean, this turnover is too quick, and it's really it's going to lead to a lot of instability because, as you guys have brought up, legislation is not going to go anywhere if we don't have an actual Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
And he, like, regardless of why he dropped out, either the number of votes or other reasons, he's the majority whip for the House. And so he's third in line for Speaker anyway. Yeah. So, like, he kind of assumed that role that he might have to take the role of Speaker if something were to happen. Yeah, well,
Mick Henry is standing there temporarily, and just about the only thing he's allowed to do by House rules is basically make sure that a smooth process goes by to the next speakership. This process isn't smooth right now, not to his fault or anything like that. However, the Constitution does not outline much about the powers of what actually happens within the rules of the House, which is very interesting, and the Supreme Court leaves them be too as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see what powers that could potentially be given to Mick Henry, because the House can't operate like this forever. I mean, that's just not possible. I mean, it seems like right now it's possible, but it's really not possible.
Yeah, we're seeing trends of instability, and like I said before, what does this mean for possible enforcement? Like, where do we go from now? Where do we go from here for something to be stable? There's too much going on right now, especially in that area. It's just...
Giving McHenry power will be able to get the House back on its feet, avoid a shutdown, and avoid even more instability that they're seeing right now. It's just whether or not they're going to get to a place where they're going to grant him those special powers or not. I'm curious to see what that is going to pan out, because I saw some discussions about it here and there, but I haven't seen too much serious discussion on granting him those powers.
You know what I think is really tearing down the House? The existence of the simple majority. It has not been the friend of legislation. It just hasn't. I think a 2/3 majority for certain things is necessary, and again, that's where the Rules Committee comes in.
Do you think Jim Jordan will run again?
I don't think he's going to be successful. I think it's clear and obvious. Now, what's interesting is Trump called Emmer a globalist rhino. So he's only a Republican by name. And apparently he called Donald Trump, at least the Trump campaign says he did, to try and make amends with Trump. That didn't work out very well. So we were first saying at the beginning, well, you know, Trump is endorsing failed speakership possibilities, but now he's also stopping potential successful speakership possibilities. So where does Trump actually stand in this? And what's funny is, again, thanks to the Constitution's minimal rules on the House, technically he could be the speaker.
That's what I was going to say. I've heard talks about that as well. And I don't know if that is possible. I don't know how it would be possible, but there has been people talking about that. And I think Gates has mentioned it before. That would be his vote if he could vote in the Speaker of the House. So.
But there is something to be said about the fact that Trump's allyship has so much sway over who gets to be speaker or how people view potential nominees. I mean, the man is being charged with felonies upon felonies, and he still has so much impact and influence over the Republican Party. I mean, it's very interesting to see how just his word and his endorsement can turn the tides of any type of vote.
And that's what I'm concerned about for 2024, because Republican voters can't just, or I guess it would be more like Trump voters can't just be only Trump, because if they're that way, then Republicans aren't going to win.
Yeah,
Joe
what's going to happen?
Win again, and then we're going to be in the same boat as we are in now.
Yeah, it's like the Trump supporters clearly are loyal, and if that isn't an option, where are they going to go?
That's also where RFK comes into play. We're not sure which party is going to be impacted by RFK running as an independent, which is very interesting.
This is all a very interesting conversation. We don't have a Speaker of the House. We don't know who's the Republican nominee for president. So lots going on, lots to talk about. Unfortunately, we are out of time. So I am going to throw it back to Emma. Thank you.
Thanks, Olivia. With the pressure of a government shutdown looming over the House, it is only a matter of time until someone can get those 215 votes. Next up, we're going to dive into the world of celebrity costumes. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Nittany Talk. The season for silly and spooky costumes alike is here. And what would that be without some celebrity fashion to gawk over? We're here to talk about all things celebrity Halloween costumes.
Thanks, Emma. In today's world, we spend majority of our time looking at what others are doing. Whether it's our family, friends, or our favorite celebrity, we love to watch others' attempts at making something interesting. This includes looking at celebrity Halloween costumes to see whether they are hot or not. Today, I'm joined with Jordan Spagnoli, Audrey Keller, and Neela Azami to decide if these costumes were well done or not. Now let's take a look at these costumes. So starting off strong, we have a throwback to 2020. Now, I know you guys probably already know what this is, but for the viewers at home, this is Kim Kardashian dressed up as the show, The Tiger King. So what do you guys think about this costume?
I love this costume. I feel like this was the Tiger King was just like such an iconic, I feel like show at the time. So I really think they pulled it off. I just love how everyone is matching together. I would never think it's like a family outfit, but I really think it like pulled together really well.
I don't know how I feel about it. I think the kids look cute, but it's a little off-putting, I think, and also dressing up Tiger King. I'm not sure that's my first choice with my children, but the kids look adorable, and I mean, they did pull it off, so there's that.
I mean, I've never seen Tiger King, but I think it's recognizable immediately, so I think on that aspect, they kind of killed it. But.
Yeah. I think the funny thing about this outfit specifically is that Tiger King, like the show itself, took such a dark turn. Joe Exotic, like, he's just a weird guy. He's not a family-oriented guy. You do not want to have your kids around him. And the fact that they took their kids with it is kind of, like, iconic. So to me, this outfit is hot. What do you guys think?
To be honest, I honestly think it's hot as well. I feel like it's, although yes, it's a bit dark, like the way that the show went, but I think it's cute.
I think for the purpose of how the show went, I would say not, because I don't think that's the family-oriented Halloween costume I personally was looking for.
I would say hot because I think the kids are adorable. So
they do look very cute.
Agreed. And moving on to our next one, we have the iconic Katy Perry dressed up in a Cheeto costume. What do you think?
I love this one. I think it's because most of the time when people are doing costumes, they're trying to be cute. This is just funny, and you don't see a lot of celebrities go for that look. It's, like you said, it's so iconic, especially the little flamin' hot Cheeto purse right there. I love it. I think she killed it.
I completely agree. I think Katy Perry has been known for having like elaborate costumes. Like she was a chandelier for a Met Gala, and I think for Halloween she kind of stepped it up. I think the Cheetos, like the purse, is adorable and it looks great.
Okay, I'm gonna have to disagree. No, like, I like the creativity within this costume, and I like the Cheeto idea, although I don't think it was really done the right way. Like, when I first saw it, kind of looked like a hot dog. Like, I was like, what is going on? So I don't know how I feel about it. What do you think about that?
Well, I gotta side with Katy for this one. I'm sorry, Neela. Like, look at her stare. Like, she's so intent. She knows exactly what she's doing. The purse, the boots, like the red Converse at the bottom, like everything is pulled together so nicely, and I just think it's just perfect.
It was very creative, and that's like, you get so many points. It's so creative. I've never seen this before, and it's funny. It's an iconic moment.
Agreed. And also, we have some other costumes that are a little bit more fashionable, you could say. Like Kylie Jenner, for example. This is her as dressed up as the Bride of Frankenstein. What do you guys think about this look?
I'm obsessed with this one. I think she looks incredible. I like her pose, like the staging of the entire photo shoot. I think like she did it really well.
I agree. I think, because you see Bride of Frankenstein a lot, but this was just done differently. The hair, the makeup, like you said, the posing, the props, the outfit, it all just really tied it together. And even though we've seen it before, she did it in a new and unique way. And for that, I think it's hot.
Right, I agree. I feel like the Kardashians are kind of known for this. Like, they'll take kind of very basic characters or costumes idea and just completely go all out with it. I feel like with this one, it kind of was the same concept. Like, she just fully took it to the next level. I really liked it. I thought it was hot. Yeah.
People always say that Kylie Jenner should have been the model. And like, honestly, seeing these pictures, like she posted so many of them on Instagram, I 100% agree. She is, you know, really, really diving deep into the character, so I think it's hot. And now, for my favorite look, I know I don't want to like be biased, but it's Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly. What do you guys think?
I don't actually know what costume they're going for.
Okay, they're Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee.
Okay.
Pamela Anderson from the Baywatch. Really, really iconic, like rock star and like super hot model babe girlfriend.
See, I think that's where I got tripped up, because if I didn't immediately know what the point of the costume was, that felt like it lacked creativity to me, and maybe they didn't pull it off in the way that they needed to for that to be better known. Or maybe I'm just not cultured enough to realize who they were trying to be. I don't know.
I think that it works really well. I mean, I feel like it fits kind of their vibe as a couple together as well. And the show Pam and Tommy like came out recently when they did this. So I think the timing was great for it, and they both look great. So I think it's hot.
I see like Megan Fox and immediately I'm like, that's hot. Like, literally, it doesn't take too much for me to be like, I'm obsessed. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, at first when I saw this, I was confused at like, what are they going for? But it's one of those things when we were talking about like the Kardashians, like they take like costumes or things that aren't as big, and I feel like they blow them up. Like now I feel like I've seen this costume so much just because they really like, I don't know, put it out there. But I think this is so hot, I loved it.
I 100% agree. I would have to say this costume is hot. It's really hard for Megan Fox to not look hot.
Right,
so like
agreed.
her just being there, it's absolutely gorgeous. And now for another favorite of mine, Heidi Klum, the master of Halloween costumes, in my opinion. I would say this is a dead body, cadaver kind of vibe. I don't think it has an exact name, but what do you guys think of this look?
This one freaks me out just a little bit. Effort was there, and that was great. You don't see this a lot. Very unique, very creative, but it just scared me. I looked at it, and I was like, I don't want to keep looking at it. So for that, I'm going to go not, but the effort was definitely there.
I have to say hot because it's Heidi Klum, and she goes hard every Halloween. Like, it should be rebranded like Heidi Ween.
Right. So that's awesome.
She's so good every time, and I think this is no exception. The makeup looks incredible. I believe that she's purely muscle in this.
Right. Heidi is like such a queen of Halloween, like iconic. I think, although yes, this kind of scares me to look at, I feel like that's the point of Halloween, to just kind of be something that you're not ever. And I think she went all the way out, and I love it. I think it's hot. I think it's really, really cool.
I'm gonna have to agree with you, Neela. I think this is absolutely hot, just like Audrey said, being Heidi Klum on Halloween, how can you not look hot? And she pulled it off. And now, my second to favorite, I would say. I'm calling all of them my favorite, but let's be real, Halloween's my favorite holiday. How are they not all my favorites? The Riverdale girls, what do you guys think of this look?
I think they crushed it. Like, again, hair, makeup, costume, the details, it's amazing. And I think they killed it. So I'd say that's hot.
Call me Paris Hilton, because I will say that's hot any day of the week to that. That's so good, and it's so creative. The redhead, the blonde, the brunette, that's kind of their shtick right now in the media, and I just think that they couldn't have done it better.
I think they truly killed it as the Hocus Pocus cast. It looks amazing.
Right, and this trio, like being together in a costume, I think makes it like 10 times better. So I'm like, oh my God, this just fits absolutely perfectly.
Absolutely. Well, that's all we have time for today. Now remember, wearing a crazy costume can work, but not always. Maybe check in with your friends before going out in your most outrageous costume. Back to you, Emma.
Thanks, Becca. We sure have seen some interesting costumes in the past, and I'm sure there will be lots more to come. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Nittany Talk. Next up, we'll take a look at the Forensic Science Club's Stephen King-inspired haunted house from this past weekend. Joy?
Thanks, Emma. Charlie Krekowski, Hannah Lowitz, Audrey Keller, and I had a blast at the Best of Stephen King Haunted House hosted by the Forensic Science Club and Engineering Group. There were screams, cries, and shrieks coming from the halls. Oh, and there was the actors too. I can say for one that I haven't had a scare quite like this one before. At one point, I was so scared I could no longer see clearly. I'm just happy I got through with it without crying. Let's take a look.
I'm horrified. I'm horrified. I'm so scared. I'm probably gonna cry. It's okay. We'll be like, I'm here with Joy. I'm really scared.
Alright, oh my god. Sorry. Right. Alright, so we're next in line. We're about to go in. It looks really spooky. I hear lots of screams from inside.
I'm gonna walk backwards. So we have to do a speech first. Like a little spiel. Yeah. Okay. Why did I sign up?
It's okay.
Ladies first, I'm a gentleman. Ladies first.
Well, that was all the spooky footage we had from the haunted house. I hope you all find some amusement in my frantic running and screaming. The haunted houses are hosted every year at Spruce and Pine Cottages, so next year definitely go take a look. Be sure to stay tuned in for other amazing segments here on Nittany Talk. Back to you, Emma.
Thanks, Joy. I couldn't get enough of the screams and panic coursing through you all. I, for one, will be sure to check that out and see just how spooked I get. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Nittany Talk. Next up, we're going to take a look at an unsolved Hollywood mystery, and you better stay to watch. Now it's time to dive into some creepy crime. Ryan?
Thanks, Emma. Welcome back to Crime Reviews. Today, I am joined by Sam Rascio, Katie Schreiner, and Jackson Tortone. Today, we will be reviewing one of Hollywood's favorite unsolved crimes, The Watcher. In 2014, residents of the town of Westfield's 657 Boulevard household were stunned to receive repeated letters containing privacy invasions and threats through the mail. Letters continued to come in, revealing that the writer knew excess private information about the property and the family that lived there. Police were notified of those letters. However, many different individuals were suspected of committing the crime. Nobody has formally been charged or convicted of any crimes related to this case. We'll start by reviewing this case and talking about who the 4 potential suspects are.
Okay, so to start it out, I think we need to talk about the girlfriend, about one of our other suspects, the gamer. So the girlfriend, she was found basically stalking the house late one night. She was staying there a little bit longer than you normally would at a house that's not yours. And it says that there was DNA on all the envelopes of the letters that was female DNA. Whoever licked the envelope was a female. So I think it puts her pretty high up on a potential suspect. Sadly, though, there wasn't enough information for them to take her in to do anything about it.
Going along with that, the girlfriend had a boyfriend that we know had the gamer tag The Watcher on his dark video games that he played. And this raised a lot of suspicion because the girlfriend was already in the eyes of the police. She was a suspect. Right. And another thing about this is the boyfriend did not show up for his questioning, which is a little suspicious.
Our third suspect is Michael Langford, who is a neighbor to 657 Boulevard and who is considered a very odd man, many said. He lived with his 90-some-odd-year-old mother and his brothers and sisters, and he was described as different. However, they did not find enough evidence to pin him to the case.
So guys, what if it was the family themselves? Ever thought about that?
Your eyes are raising. I want to hear this.
Well, $300,000 house, $700,000 house, $1.3 million house. Why not make a publicity stunt in order to pay off that new house?
Well, if you think the family did it themselves, where did the letter come from the previous family that owned the residence?
Who knows? Probably from them, but you know, This could have been a big orchestrated thing, is what I think.
Huh.
I have the different view, and I personally think it was the girlfriend and the boyfriend that did it, and I think they did it because they wanted the house, and by sending these notes, it would push the family that lived there and hopefully drop the price of the house down.
Police said they found her car at the residence. However, I'm not sure the details further than that because Westfield police did not cooperate. However, they said they found her car but still could not pin her to the case, which is very interesting.
Well, I think if we're talking about the family and if the family did it or not, they did DNA matching. There was no DNA from the family that matched with anything from the letters. They tested the wife. They made sure that her DNA was not what they found on the letters, and it wasn't. So
Gloves possibly?
It was her tongue. She was licking the letter.
She licked the envelope.
Maybe she used someone else to lick it.
Oh, that could be, that's interesting. The sky is the limit with this case because Westfield police.
This is a cold case. This case is as cold as ice cream. Yes, we have no idea.
Not a lot of evidence. Yeah, not a lot of evidence to begin with, and law enforcement did not cooperate. So the sky is the limit with theories in this case, which is why this is going to be such an interesting episode. Let's talk a little bit about the town. The town of Westfield, which is located in Union County, New Jersey, it has a population of just over 30,000 according to a 2021 census. It's also 6.74 square miles, 16 miles away from New York City. So obviously that explains why a property like this is not so expensive. The makers of the Netflix TV show said, well, you know, this doesn't look that grand, so we're going to have to make it look a little grander.
Very grand.
There we go.
So, well, if we're talking about the Netflix TV show, which is kind of how this case has come to light recently, it is strongly inaccurate. I love me some Jennifer Coolidge, but she is not originally, that character is not originally anywhere in this case.
I think the Netflix documentary or the Netflix show makes the case a lot more interesting than it actually is because it connected it to a murder that happened a long time ago in the house, which truly has nothing to do with these watcher letters.
I have to say, this is a beautiful property. Just $7.1 million. It's located in Westchester County, New York, in the town of Rye. I mean, just beautiful. It's got a pool behind it, very quiet community. When you start watching the show at the beginning, they drive through. That is not what Westfield, New Jersey looks like. Westfield is like a city in its own right. 6.71 square miles. That's half the size of the town I'm from that shares the same size population.
I'm really surprised Netflix did this, though. They wanted to make everything more beautiful, more appealing, more interesting for the audience.
That makes sense. They also combined it with a murder that has nothing to do with the house, the John Wick.
As they typically do.
Maybe we'll talk about that in the future in the coming episodes or seasons. It's very interesting. However, it has nothing to do with the Watcher case.
Well, if we do want to talk about something that was accurate from the show, Derek, the husband, did write letters to the neighbors that had shown some disinterest in their family, basically saying that they were not for the family. And I think it's interesting that they included that little piece.
There is a lot going on here that's very interesting. What I find the most interesting is the Westfield police did not cooperate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What I found very interesting, too, was the show did not even bring the Westfield police into it. They used a county law enforcement agency that's actually fictional. Not only that, of course, they made the property grander, but they changed the name of the family, which is another reason why I think the family didn't do it. Don't you think the family would want to use the fame of their name in the Netflix show?
They did sell their story to it.
They sold their story, but they said do not use our name. That's why it's the Broduses in real life, not in the show.
Maybe they wanted to save their children's faces, possibly, but I still am going to stick with my opinion. Now, it is interesting. It is an interesting point, though, for sure. They went out with their names used in the Netflix show.
It's a very interesting crime. There's a lot going on. As I said, Michael Langford, he was described as a bit odd but harmless. Do you guys think there's a possibility that he did it?
Always a possibility, but lower.
Yeah, I mean, a lot happened here. Not only that, the residents of Westfield were not happy with the situation at all because right after the show went on Netflix, people were just driving right by the house and taking photos, slowing down traffic. A lot of tickets were written, a lot of complaints. Local officials got involved. It was not a good situation. The house was a celebrity in its own right. Guys, it's just an average house. I hate to say it.
It's an average house.
It's just an average house.
It brought a lot of fame to Westfield, New Jersey because it's a small town and the middle of New Jersey, but
it's an average house with a not so average admirer at the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
So really, this case is just unsolvable. That's the truth. There's not enough evidence. We don't know enough information. Is there any other theories that you can't find online that you guys would think are potentially possible?
Something I noticed with the letters was the person writing them never said, like, my house. They didn't claim the house as maybe having any connection to it prior than writing these letters. And I feel like if someone wanted the house back that was maybe a previous owner or a family member of the previous owner, they would have claimed the house by using I or me or my family.
something like that.
Yeah. No, what I find interesting too is the show, when they were doing voiceovers for the letters, made it sound like it was a male. However, I think there's more evidence pointing to the female side. But as you said, there is a possibility that they did that to throw off law enforcement.
Possibly,
So,
yes.
You never know. There was also a private investigator hired who didn't find out too much either. So the whole thing is just a very crazy situation. It was a 7-episode miniseries on Netflix. In real life, the case didn't last too long because both, as I said, Westfield police didn't find too much and the private investigator didn't find too much. I mean, Westfield is just a beautiful town. It has 2 famous crimes to its name now that Netflix and other TV businesses have taken advantage of. That's the John List murders. I think we should get into that potentially sometime in the future, which is very interesting. Any last words?
Well, if we're talking about how it was a very short case, they were only in that house for 6 months. And then they tried to sell it, which didn't go too well for them.
They found a family.
They found people finally, but it's just one of those things where you have to keep in mind, this was within a span of 6 months that they're receiving these 4 letters.
Yeah, the Woods family bought it. They've been living there for over 20 years now. There's no record of them having sold the house, to my recollection. Has anyone seen them?
I've not seen anything about that.
I mean, they're a brave family for buying the house. And what I find interesting, too, is if you're writing letters like that, don't you think maybe you want the house? I'm surprised nobody bought it.
Right.
Who was potentially a suspect.
Another thing that I found interesting was that Westfield, no crimes go on in Westfield, really.
One of the safest towns in America.
So I think the police would have kind of jumped on that. It gives them something to do, and they really didn't do that in the
They
situation.
seemed unfazed by it both in the show and in real life. Well, that's all the time that we have for today, folks. We could talk about this for hours and hours, coming up with theories and trying to figure out what exactly happened. But as both police and private investigators can confirm, although we do have some suspects, none of them are convincing enough to be put behind bars. So that's all we have for you this week. Thank you, guys, and we will see you in our next Crime Reviews episode in the coming weeks.
Thanks, Ryan. That was the perfect crime to dive into for Halloween season. Now I will forever wonder just who the Watcher truly was. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Nittany Talk. Staying on theme for Halloween, Charlie is going to let us know what the best candy to collect in this week's edition of Charlie's Top 5. Over to you, Charlie.
Thanks, Emma. Like Emma mentioned, this is Charlie's Top 5, and I'm going to give y'all the rundown on the best candy to give or receive on Halloween night. Before we begin, let me introduce my panel. Becca Cohen, Joy Donald, Jordan Spagnoli, and new face Thomas Sweeney. So let's start with number 5. Starting off with a banger, we have Twizzlers.
You're putting that at top 5?
Yeah.
It is top 5. Twizzlers are so good.
Charlie! What is this?
Look, I know licorice rubs people the wrong way, but that's the black licorice, the Jägermeister licorice. That stuff, I can't stand it, but the cherry, strawberry goodness of Twizzlers, oh my goodness.
Absolutely, I agree with you there, Charlie. The strawberry.
They gotta be the long ones though. They can't be those little chode ones. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't bear with the fun size ones. They gotta be the full size ones.
Top 5 is a little ambitious. I would say top 10 maybe.
Top 10.
No.
Top 15.
I definitely no. It's
This
definitely
was
my top
very
5.
ambitious. I just respectfully disagree.
The
I like
fact
that.
you
I like
had
that.
to use Jägermeister to describe the candy means it should be nowhere near your top 5 list.
I like Jägermeister. Whatever. All right, number 4. Sour Patch Kids.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now that's
Absolutely.
something we could all agree on. First they're sour, then they're sweet. I like when I get to the bottom of the bag, there's all that like citric acid at the bottom. You just hit that and you're just like,
When you
it's
put
the
it that
best.
way.
That is not my favorite part of the bag, but I do agree. I think Sour Patch
What do you
Kids.
just let them melt in your car and just eat it like taffy?
Who eats
That's
the
a
sugar
great
at the
way to
bottom?
Who has
I
Sour
do.
Patch Kids sitting in their car, first of all? So I don't really know. Oh, Thomas, of course you do.
Everyone needs a late night snack. You know what I mean?
All right,
Late night
Absolutely.
snack. Sour Patch Kids will keep you up.
I'm okay with this being on the top 5.
You're okay with
I'm
that?
okay with
I
that.
can agree with that.
I also
Sour Patch top 5?
Yeah, Sour Patch
top
definitely
5,
top
top 5,
five.
top 5. All right, we've agreed now. Number 3. Twix.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Twix.
Yes.
top
Now this
3
one,
definitely.
it's.
100%.
I thought about like putting Three Musketeers on here, but then I'm like, you know, Three Musketeers just kind of tastes like when you're like eating too much candy, you throw up and you just keep eating.
Yeah.
That's what Three Musketeers is. But Twix has got that exquisite crunch to it. It's got
Yeah, I
that nice
agree.
caramel goodness in it, and it's just all wrapped around in a nice chocolatey shell.
But Charlie, I have a question for you. Right or left?
Oh man,
Do
right
you
or
even
left?
have time for
Right
that
or left?
debate
Yeah,
today?
that's its own segment. But for now, I'm gonna do right Twix.
No,
All
I'm
right.
definitely putting that at my top.
Top.
Agreed. Of course.
Top.
Of course.
All right, number 2. Hershey's cookies and cream bars. Not just the regular plain Jane milk chocolate Hershey's. I'm talking about the cookies and cream one. The one with the little chunks of chocolate chips in them.
Like, I'm just offended by the way this list is going right now.
Hey, it's
Hershey's
not
cookies
even
and
that
cream.
bad. Cookies and
I couldn't
cream.
eat an
Eat an
Oreo.
No,
Eat
that-
an Oreo.
I would put that
But
on
riddle
my
me
bottom
this:
5.
is an Oreo
Oh, wow.
a Halloween candy?
Anything could be in Halloween candy.
I
Just slap a
personally have
little
never
ghost on it.
received an Oreo
Yes.
in.
Oh, great.
There's the orange.
You know what?
Halloween
The
treat-
orange ones.
Orange
The orange
Oreos.
ones. He's onto something.
I will
He's
say
onto
the Halloween Oreos taste way better than the regular Oreos.
Charlie, I'm sorry, but I got Hershey's cookies and cream. That would go on my bottom 5. I'm not a fan.
Wow.
I do not
I don't
like
think
it.
I'd
The
put it
white
above
chocolate. No. I'm
I
not a
honestly
fan.
agree with this list. I don't know if I agree with the order per se.
The
I
order.
would have to say the
Top
Twix,
5.
Yeah,
But shuffle them.
definitely
there's gonna
shuffle them. But Hershey's cookies and cream, definitely a good run. Honestly, it deserves this place up here.
I feel like it is niche enough
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
to just be.
There's going to be some questions here because there was 2 candies I was expecting on this list that have not shown up yet. We're going to have to talk after this about what's missing.
All right.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll talk about that. Let's go with my personal number 1, and that is Tootsie Caramel Apple Pops.
What?
Now this one I would always go around and I would scrounge. I would try to find what houses had this one. These ones make me go crazy. And guys, I brought some here for you to try them. If you
Okay. All right.
I've never had.
now they are a green
Give it a
apple
taste
lollipop
test.
wrapped in a nice glaze of caramel. So
Mine's
first,
melted to the
you're
rim.
just having some
You gotta
caramel,
rip it off.
but as soon as you keep licking, you get to the center.
Well, I don't think we
And
have
then
time
there's
to
a
get to the
sweet
center
nut.
today.
You know what? Take it home, enjoy it. It's meant to be enjoyed.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But
honestly.
Charlie, I'm a little
So
concerned about your
what
list.
were you anticipating?
I was anticipating Kit Kats and Reese's to come up on this
Absolutely.
list, and they're not
Reese's
there.
Cups.
That bothers me.
So,
Kit Kats, Reese's,
the reason
Twix, top 3.
Reese's did not make my top 5 is because I have a peanut allergy.
You're one of those.
I have
Survival
never had
fittest.
a Reese's
Right.
Explains
before.
this
Survival
so
of the
much more
fittest.
now.
It does,
Get over
honestly.
it
And why it's
and
awful.
be able
That's
to enjoy a
unfortunate.
Reese's.
You know
Shaped
what?
like
I
a
have
little
my
ghost.
EpiPen in my backpack. One of y'all would like to bring a Reese's and we'll do a Charlie Tries segment. We'll make it happen.
No, let's not
but
do
for,
that.
But for now,
Okay.
I'm excluding Reese's, I'm excluding Butterfingers, I'm excluding Snickers.
Can I ask though, why did Kit Kats not make the list?
True.
I was gonna say Kit Kats.
Did you
What?
just forget?
I was gonna say Kit Kats, but I felt like it's too similar to Twix.
But
No.
Hershey's
Very
cookies
different.
and cream over Twix?
Yeah.
That's what I'm not understanding. Like, I would
So-
definitely put Kit Kats somewhere in that top 5 rather than Hershey's
I
cookies
do like
and cream.
Kit Kats,
But
but they just
what about Crunch Bars?
Crunch
No.
bars are good.
Nobody
Have
likes
you ever-
Crunch
have you-
Bars.
have you
I like
ever-
Crunch
have you ever
Bars.
had the little Crunch Nuggets from like the movie theater? They come in that
Yes.
little box.
Yes.
I feel like those are better than the
Milk
little
duds.
brick bars.
Milk duds. You
Milk duds
forgot
are pretty
about
good. Milk duds are pretty good. Except it gets really hard and then it's like kind of
It
tastes a
gets
little
stuck in your teeth.
plasticky. And
Just
then
like
it's
the Sour Patch Kids you leave in your car overnight.
We gotta talk about what you're leaving in your car overnight.
Yeah,
Oh
honestly.
boy.
But okay, so I'm not happy with the Twizzlers. I'm not happy with Hershey's. It is good. I'm not saying it's going on my top
But not
5.
top 5.
But knowing you have a peanut allergy makes this list make a lot more sense, I think, in all of our minds.
Yeah, honestly, I feel a little sorry for you because with peanuts, life's just a little bit better, especially around Halloween time. Like you can't even eat sour apples with peanuts on it.
I
That's
will say,
sad.
one of the things I had to do as a child is pick through my candy, and I had to sort it between the ones I can and can't eat.
For you.
And the ones I couldn't eat, that's all Pops. Pops, he's just munching on it. Regardless of the candy in the basket, always remember to say trick or treat, and for the love of God, don't leave the house without wearing a costume. Back to you, Emma.
Thanks, Charlie. Well, that's all for this week's episode. From talking Congress to crime to fashion and sweets, it's been a fun one. Thank you all for joining us. For Nittany Talk, I'm Emma Goldkoff, and we hope to see you next week.